Call to order the 13th regular meeting of the Lynn City Council. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Council Barton.
Present.
Present. Council Cahill.
Present.
Present. Council Capano.
Present.
Present. Council Chakutis.
Present.
Present. Council Calucci.
Present.
Present. Council Seer.
Present.
Present. Council LaPierre.
Present.
Present. Council Lozzi.
Present.
Present. Council Net. Absent. Council Trahant.
Present.
Present. Council Walsh.
Present.
Present. 10 present.
May you please rise for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, Councilor Seer.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's somewhat of a heavy heart that I'm going to ask that the council dedicate this moment of silence to Charlie O'Brien, he was the ward council before I became ward councilor. He served the city for 10 years as the Ward 3 councilor, and I can tell you, every day, Charlie served this city. I don't think like any one of us could even match up to the things that he has done. He raised an incredible family of 11 kids, over 30 grandchildren. He's got a half a dozen great-grandchildren. And Charlie came into this city and he put himself through college. A lot of people don't know that. And high school, after he started his family. So he's was a pretty remarkable guy. He should live in all the hearts of everybody from Ward 3, and I'm going to ask that we dedicate this moment of silence to Charlie. Thank you.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. President, could we also keep in our hearts and prayers and thoughts and prayers Miss Gertrude Greenler? Carl Greenler is the chair of the Lynn Historical Commission, and Biagio Crescenzo and Peter Theo, who is the brother-in-law of the late former mayor Tony Marino.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I'll take a motion to accept the minutes from the July 19th, 2016 meeting. Motion made and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Communications.
First communication is from Her Honor the Mayor. Dear Councilors, I hereby appoint Michael Sweeney, 124 Ocean Street, as the Veterans Grave Officer, effective immediately and will expire on December 31st, 2019. Sincerely, Judith Flanagan Kennedy.
What is the wish of the council?
Motion to approve.
A motion has been made and seconded. I would note that Mr. Sweeney is here with us with his wife Sarah in the back. Congratulations on your new appointment. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Well, the ayes have it. Congratulations, Mr. Sweeney. Do us well. And you don't have to sit here for the rest of the meeting, I promise. Next communication.
Dear Councilors, I am respectfully vetoing the above-referenced ordinance presented to me for signature on July 14, 2016. Although I am in agreement with much of the proposed ordinance, I cannot agree to the language contained in Section 14. Specifically, the following sentence: all incomes received by the City of Lynn from host agreements shall be subject to appropriation by the Lynn City Council. It is my understanding that your honorable body attempted to remove this unenforceable language from the proposed ordinance at your most recent meeting on July 19th. Procedurally, however, the attempt at removal was insufficient. As I have stated repeatedly in the past, I have no objection to medical marijuana dispensaries located in the City of Lynn, and I look forward to a revised ordinance that will meet with my approval. Very truly yours, Judith Flanagan Kennedy.
What's the wish of the council? Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we override the mayor's veto.
Second.
A motion has been made to override the mayor's veto and seconded.
Discussion.
Councilor Seer.
Thank you. I know this has been a heated debate for months on the council. If we don't override the mayor's veto, I'm going to tell you what exactly is going to happen. All right? She'll be able to work out whatever she can with whatever pot dispensary wants to come into the city. We lose out on getting the most money from whatever dispensary that comes here. regardless of what anybody thinks, it opens it up to the entire city. Now, I'm not in favor of pot dispensaries at all, but the reality of it is they're coming. And the other reality of it is this, that in November there's a vote on the ballot to make smoking marijuana recreational in the state of Massachusetts. And it's going to happen, because that's what everybody wants. The majority of people, the majority of voters. Everywhere you go, you can see that's what's coming down the road. Nobody wants it in their backyard. I get that. I understand where Peter's coming from when he says he doesn't want it in Ward 6. It has to go somewhere, and that's the place that's been picked, and that's the place that we put out so that the public could come to a hearing and debate it. And in all honesty, there weren't a lot of people from Ward 6 that came to prevent it from going there. There were a few that did, I get that. But the thing is that it's not a good thing to open it up to the entire city at all. We tried a couple weeks ago at the council to change a stipulation in there. We didn't have the votes to do that. And we can't do that tonight either without putting it down for a public hearing. But what we can do is override the veto, to override the mayor's veto, and we have to do it. My motion is made, and I've said what I've got to say.
Councilor Capano.
Yes, I'd like to ask a couple questions to Attorney Lamont, please. Is that true if we override the veto, if we don't override the veto, the mayor can do whatever she wants? Don't we have an ordinance?
There is an existing ordinance on the books that prohibit a medical marijuana dispensary for 1,000 feet from a school, park, playground, or a residential area. That would essentially prohibit a medical marijuana dispensary from locating anywhere in the city of Lynn. As I've stated to the council before during the multiple public hearings, it's the opinion of the law department that any person that wanted to operate a medical marijuana dispensary anywhere in the city, wards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7, that challenged that ordinance would be successful in court. And ultimately, a medical marijuana dispensary could open up anywhere in the city once that ordinance is struck down. And we believe it, the law department believes it will be struck down if it is challenged.
If it is challenged, but it hasn't been challenged yet.
It has not been challenged primarily because this honorable body has been considering an alternative to an ordinance that's on the books that is unlawful. And that opinion is shared by the Attorney General's office.
Yeah. The mayor is saying that she wants an ordinance that she can approve. We have an ordinance, you know, if we stick with the mayor's veto and shoot this down, she doesn't like it, we have a chance to do another ordinance, and we have an ordinance on the books already that's, you know, that we're using. And we are working on it. I mean, we had this date, August 3rd. If we didn't have it done by August 3rd, the world was going to end. But it's August 15th now, and nothing's happened. You know, I don't see anything wrong with working on a new ordinance that everybody can agree to. I mean, there's obviously disagreement to this, and I think there's a lot of support for opening it up to the whole city. I think residents of Ward 6 do not want this. It's in a neighborhood, and I heard that the reasons these two areas were picked was because they didn't want a medical marijuana dispensary in a neighborhood. These are neighborhoods. People live there. So I don't see how that is relevant unless we're not considering people in Ward 6 residents of the city. If they're considering them something different than you would consider the rest of the city, I can see why you would do that. But that's just not right. And I haven't heard anybody in Ward 6, and everywhere I go, people want to know why that area was picked. I never agreed to it. And I'm not, and another just a point, a fact here, I'm not saying that I don't want it in Ward 6. I've never said that. I'm saying that everybody should have the equal opportunity. for their wards. You know, I'm just saying that if it happens to be Ward 6 and that's the best deal we get from the medical marijuana dispensary, then that's fine. That will be the best deal for the city. If it happens to be in Ward 3 or Ward 2 or Ward 1 or any of the other wards, if that's the best deal for the city, that's fine. We should be looking for the best deal for the city, not picking and choosing where it's supposed to go, especially if the idea is that you don't want it in a residential neighborhood. I was told, and I hate to repeat myself, but it just bears repeating again, is that we didn't want a medical marijuana facility on the other side of the Linway because we didn't want people coming off the ferry and seeing a medical marijuana clinic, because we're trying to develop the waterfront, and we don't want people coming from, other cities and towns, Swampscott and Marblehead, people that drive and take the ferry to come out and see a medical marijuana clinic. Well, we got people in this neighborhood. This is a bowling alley, or right next to the bowling alley, and the skating rink is 2 buildings down. We have people that actually live in Lynn. Is it all right for them to see a marijuana clinic, and it's not okay for it to be on the other side of the Linway? I just think we should open it up to the whole city. The mayor has vetoed it. We have a chance here to start over and make a fair agreement. So I am recommending that the council upholds the veto of this ordinance, and we start over. The sky isn't going to fall. There's not going to be a medical marijuana dispensary on every corner. We'll be able to start over, and we'll be able to come up with an ordinance that is fair to the whole city.
Thank you, Councilor Capano. I just have a brief question from the chair procedurally from Mr. Lamanna. Mr. Lamanna, I expect you to be up there probably for the duration of the debate, if you don't mind. The question has been raised, if this ordinance fails, what is the procedure for the creation of a new ordinance?
City Council would have to vote to set down a public hearing and advertise any gap between this evening and the time where the council sat down and formulated a new ordinance. There would be a risk that a medical marijuana dispensary operator could come in and have a foot in the door by submitting an application, and they would have a placeholder stake that would allow them potentially, and in all likelihood, if they did file such a complaint in federal court or state court, to open up, if successful, in their lawsuit.
Now, let me clarify my question. When a city ordinance is rejected, what are the rules about bringing that subject matter back?
Typically, on a zone ordinance, it's a 2-year wait in order for that same subject matter to be brought back up.
So if this was to be rejected?
Absent material changes in the existing ordinance. So if that would be the only way around Chapter 40A is the prohibition. A zone ordinance unfavorably acted upon, there is a 2-year moratorium.
That's all I want to know. Okay, Councilor Sear and then Councilor Lapierre.
Thank you. I'm not saying the sky's falling. I'm not using that scenario or anything. I don't think anybody really is. I love how passionate Peter gets, I really do. But in all honesty, I don't feel as though the Linway is a neighborhood. It's a neighborhood of businesses, is what the Linway is. And there was one small area of the Linway that was in the original ordinance, and it was you, Peter, who made an amendment using that whole side of the Linway. And everybody went along with it. And I think you realized that you made a mistake, so you were the only one who voted no on that. And opening it up into the entire city, that's your opinion, and my opinion is that I don't want to open it up to the entire city, that I don't want to see a pot dispensary open up on every corner. And right now, as we're talking, there are companies that are securing properties in the city, in all areas of the city. They're just waiting to see what we do. And they're waiting to, as Attorney Lamanna said, they're going to take this into court and they're going to challenge that ordinance that's on the books right now of no pot dispensary opening within 1,000 feet of a school, which makes it impossible. So, I mean, we can change the ordinance later, But right now, we are in a crisis mode because what we're doing is we're opening the door for any pot dispensary to come in here and challenge it. Anywhere in the city. Ward 1, Ward 2, Ward 3, Ward 4, 5, 6, or 7. Doesn't matter. I don't want it in my ward, to be perfectly honest with you.
Councilor Pierre was recognized, and then we'll go right to Councilor Capano.
Thank you, Mr. President. Question for Attorney Lamanna. Attorney Lamanna, can you define for me who the host is in a host agreement?
The host would be the city of Lynn.
And is this a particular person or a committee or a number of folks?
The ordinance that was passed and vetoed by the mayor stated that the ultimate host agreement would be approved, negotiated by the mayor, but it would be subject to council approval. So the city council in that particular ordinance would have the final say. So the mayor on her own could not negotiate a host agreement until that agreement came before the council and the council approved that agreement. Absent an override, the council would not have any say in the host agreement that was negotiated by the mayor.
Do you know, to your knowledge, if a host agreement committee exists currently?
Currently, there is no formal host agreement committee that has been established. I have had discussions with the mayor about such a committee.
And is the mayor the appointing authority of this such committee?
The mayor could choose not to have a committee. The discussions I've had with the mayor is that she would like to have a committee and include some of the councilors in that committee. But ultimately, per state law, the mayor negotiates the host agreement, and this ordinance does give the council some leverage and some say in that process.
So what you're saying basically is she could either do it unilaterally or by consensus.
Under either, whether you override the veto or not, the mayor could go either way, correct. But with
So
an
just to be
override, the
clear,
council-
and you know, I wasn't here a couple weeks when the council met and tried to clean up the amendments that were proposed, but my understanding of this is it's going to the mayor, and in order for me to support any type of override, I would want to either by vis-a-vis the council or its appointment, that a representative of the council or two be invited to be a part of this host agreement committee. If the mayor is amendable to that, that's a different story. But currently, I feel like her veto has not given us any wiggle room and does not speak to that effect. And what we've done for the last 4 or 5 months, countless meeting after meeting, has gone for naught. And everything this body takes up that's of importance for the city of Lynn somehow gets vetoed. And all the small things that we do, all the good-natured things to help the city, go along nicely. But when the rubber hits the road, and we're talking about hard, tough decisions, and I compliment the council from Ward 6 defending his ward as other councilors have done, and as an at-large member, I've tried to take it all in and absorb this. I cannot go along with an override unless this body fully and truly has representation on that host agreement. That's only right. We're a balance of government here. I took civics. I know we've got an executive branch. I know it's her right to veto. It's our right to override it as a legislative agent of this body, of this city. And I don't feel comfortable every time we turn around for important matters before this city, we have a veto looking straight down at it. And then we're the ones on the offensive, trying to make something good out of nothing. This has been nothing but to pardon the expression, a turd presented to us on our laps here. And I didn't want to present it to me back in January when I got sworn in. I certainly don't like it eight months later. But it is what we are faced with. And I would at least encourage our mayor to be open-minded and give a little legislative help in committee to work these things out before they get to this august body, this honorable body that is dealing with these faux pas along the way. This is nothing new. I wish we had known she was going to veto this back in February or March, when the initial discussions were being held, when we had public input, when we talked about this as a city, when we didn't know where to put it because a few people decided where they were going to put it. This is angering me now that we're putting off other important matters, financial matters, matters of an election commissioner. Other important matters are at stake now, and we're still talking about the same issue, Mr. President. And it pains me because I know that we all come at this perspective with our various experiences, and I as a tradesman in working in my professional life as a negotiator, I would like to have a seat at that table with the mayor. I would like to be in consultation with her. And I think by doing so, we do this body justice. So I will not support the override unless we have a voice as a council in that corner office making these difficult decisions on behalf of the citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Capano?
I think supporting the override is the best way we can go if we want to do, because I agree with a lot of what Councilor Lapierre said. You know,
Supporting the override, Councilor Capano? I'm sorry.
no, I'm not supporting the veto.
Motion made and seconded.
Yeah, it must have missed the last 3 meetings, right? So I agree with a lot with Councilor Lapierre
Listen,
said.
Councilor Capano,
I
I'm
just
still
wanted a
listening
few
to you.
things on the record here. There's no mistake about why I asked to spread it out along the Linway, because I had tried to make some amendments to the ordinance that would have opened it up to various places in the city. City Hall Square, Wyoming Square, a whole bunch of them. I don't even remember what they were. They were all rejected. So because this particular block that has been picked for the marijuana dispensary has homes right behind it. The Linway, obviously, is not residential yet, but right behind that in the backyard, there's all homes back there. There's houses there. So the best I could do was at least spread it along the Linway, so hopefully one of these clinics aren't where there's some homes. I would prefer that it would open up to the whole city. I tried to put it on the other side of the Linway. You know, between where the gas tank is and Westland Creamery is never going to be commercial residence. There's not going to be luxury condos there. Even under the Sasaki plan, it's commercial development, commercial light industrial. Right in the back of Marine Boulevard is all industrial. That would be a perfect spot for it. There's no homes around there or anything. There's a number of places along that route, but that was also rejected. The only places that we've approved are in residential neighborhoods. Murphy Ave is a residential neighborhood. There isn't a place in this city that anybody, other than Ward 6, that would be approved, other than a few places in Ward 6. It's just not right. I don't agree with that. We have a chance here to change this, to start over. And I think we should do that.
Councilor Lozzi?
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, here we are with a vote on whether we override the mayor's veto on this medical marijuana issue. And it's getting pretty complicated, and I think we have to simplify this. We heard from our attorney that it could be up to 2 years to take this up again if we fail to override this veto. So I think we have to decide, do we want, the mayor's objection is that we included in this ordinance that the host agreement will be subject to appropriation by the Lynn City Council. And I think we need to narrow our debate to this topic and decide whether we're in favor of this or not. If we fail to override this veto, this goes down in flames. There is no opportunity for a host agreement with monies. Now, I understand, Councilor Capano, you want to amend this, and I respect and defend your right to amend this while it's still before us. But right now, the question is whether or not we as a council are going to override the mayor's veto of this bill. And I think we have to start there and then take up any kind of an amendment or whatever it is we wish to change. But this is where we're at, and I think we've got to stop complicating this and bringing all the defensive issues along with it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Can I go to Councilor Walsh? He hasn't had an opportunity to speak. And then Councilor Seer.
I just had a question for the Attorney Lamanna again. If he's still, if we vote on this, can we amend it afterwards?
The vote before you tonight would be purely an override. If this ordinance was overridden, it would be on the books. The council would be free at any time to start the process over and amend the ordinance if they wanted to include different neighborhoods. It's my understanding there's going to be an RFP submitted. If the responses come in and the city's not satisfied with the locations, the money, the city council is a special permit granting authority. The council could reject all bids, and at that time they may say, or you folks may say, the city may be better off opening it up to more areas in the city in order to maximize money. But tonight's vote would be to override or not to override. To the extent that the ordinance in the future needs to be amended, the process would need to be start over, advertisement, public hearings, and the like. But there can be no amendment this evening on this ordinance. It's an up or down vote on the override.
So if we decided to vote on this and take it up, we would have to go through the whole process again to amend the zoning ordinance where it could go, right?
If the ordinance is overridden by this council and there's a desire at some point in the future, whether it's a year from now, 2 weeks from now, to make some changes, it would be a new public hearing in order to do that.
Okay.
That's by state law.
So something I just wanted to just say to everybody here. I'm probably one of the only councilors that's visited 2 dispensaries, all right? I've been to the one in Salem, and I was in the one in Brockton recently. I just want to say that there is no houses anywhere near either one of those dispensaries. There's none behind it. There's none within probably 1,000 feet of them, all right? And we have places that are better suited than what's on this right now for doing dispensaries. I just don't see how putting it in the area that it's been picked, like Mr. Capano said, there's houses behind these places. And the 2 that I've seen that other cities and towns have done, there is no houses around them. So I just, I want to bring that up.
Councilor Seer.
Thank you. I too have visited the pot dispensary in Salem. Within 100 yards of that dispensary, there are multifamily homes. But also, touching on what Councilor LaPierre was saying, I think you actually made a point why we should vote to override this. And that point is that we spent months talking about this, and we finally came to an agreement. 9 councilors voted in favor of it, and 2 didn't. And all I'm asking for right now is an override of the mayor's veto of what we've already agreed to. 9 of us. That's all I'm asking. Because if we don't, as Attorney Lamanna says, that everything that we've got that's not as an ordinance now can be challenged. If we decide we want to amend this, what's here, we have that opportunity to come back and amend it. But if we don't vote for this override right now, it kills it. That's the end of it. You have to start the whole process all over again. So by overriding the mayor's veto, if you want to change some things, amend them, we can't do it tonight, but what we can do is work together, and we can do that in the future.
Councilor Capano.
Yeah, it sounds good, Councilor Seer, what you're saying, but in reality, all the arguments, like you said, we've been talking about this for, a few months now. There isn't any amendments that anyone else would want to make, other than myself and maybe a couple others, that would pass this council. So that just isn't going to work. The reason why we debate these issues for this long is to try to come to a consensus or an agreement, but that doesn't mean that we always do come to a consensus or agreement.
Correct.
And we're offered these opportunities, and at different points along the process to intervene. And this is one of those steps. It's probably the last step. There's no guarantee that the councilors would be involved in any committee with the mayor to do a host agreement. I mean, I would have liked, I know the mayor's very busy, and there's a lot of things going on, but I would have liked to have seen her come to a couple of these meetings. We had, I don't know how many public hearings. I don't know how she really feels about this. I don't know if she would be amenable to open it up to the whole city. I do know that she vetoed it because she didn't want council to have control of the money. I don't have confidence that the councilors would have a say in what would happen. There's no guarantee of that, you know? So I think that's really important, and I think other than most of the councilors wanting it to locate it in Ward 6, the second biggest argument was that people wanted control of where the money goes. And I think that's a legitimate issue, and I think that's something that we can bring up with the mayor, you know, and see if we can have some kind of, at least a recommendation role, you know, into where these places go. But, you know, the reason why we vote is because we feel we're doing what's best for the city. You know, I feel that this ordinance is not best for the whole city. I feel like it also, it limits, it picks the winners and losers in this whole thing. We're picking the people who are going to get these medical marijuana dispensaries. That's what we're doing. I mean, we're not opening it up to the whole city. There's places in the city that these dispensaries might want to go. And when I say these dispensaries, I really mean there's only one. There's only one dispensary. It could go anywhere in the city, but we're choosing one block, really, of where these dispensaries are going to go. We're picking the winners and the losers. That's just not right. And, you know, and nothing against the businesses there. A lot of them, they're all very respectable people, but I think opening it up to the whole city is the right way to go, the fair way to go. And I think that's the way we should do it, and I think we should do it by supporting this veto and starting over again.
1 minute, that's all I'm asking. That's fine.
The horse has been beaten to death. but
If all the
please-
other councils feel is what you're saying, Peter, to open it up to the entire city, that's fine. I don't feel that way, so that's why I'm asking for an override of the
I
veto.
get it. I get it.
So what I'm asking for is a vote.
Before that's taken, if there's no objection, I would just like to make a brief statement on my behalf. I want to, oddly enough, I want to thank everybody. I've been here for 8 years, and this has been the most thoughtful, thorough, intelligent debate that we've had almost a dozen times. And everyone, I think, has come up with great points, and everyone has been really engaged in this issue, and we should. It's one of the most important issues that the city has faced outside of financial issues and probably ever. It's a unique situation that the Commonwealth finds themselves in. I would just like to say a few things. With regards to the mayor's veto, she was very poignant in her letter. There was one sentence that she doesn't agree with. It was 9 pages that we have toiled over for many, many months, and it's one sentence that we in the law department has even opined is unenforceable, right? We tried to override it. We didn't have 8 members there. It failed. It's unenforceable by law anyways, and we all kind of agree with that. We'd like to clean that up, and we can in the future, and we can add things in the future. We can subtract things in the future. With regard to the host agreement, the mayor, whether you like it or not, whoever mayor is in charge, they're the CEO. They do contract with they do negotiations for contracts. They do negotiations from everything from unions to trash pickups to, I mean, that's the way the statutes in government has been set up in the Commonwealth. Mayors are the CEOs, but I think we've done a great job of making sure that the city council has a real involvement in the final say. Not only do we have to approve the host agreement, to which we can reject host agreements, but we also have to approve the special permits as well. So actually, we have two abilities to shape this medical marijuana industry in Lynn, where the mayor has one, and that's being the host agreement. We do hope she includes us. I think it's wise to include us only because we'll be the ultimate decision maker on whether or not we agree with it or not. But there are opportunities for 1 or 2. We obviously, there are disagreement as to where they go. However, again, we've spent a lot of time and a lot of effort, and a lot of people have come out and voiced their opinion on these things. We're talking about one sentence, 9 pages worth, she apparently agrees with, to not override this veto would essentially take us completely out of the equation, completely. We wouldn't have a say on host agreements, we wouldn't have a say on special permits. And I think we all agree that we do at least want, whether you agree with it or not, we do want a say in it. So I would agree that it's not perfect. We're committed to working in the future on changing things. We have done that with other ordinances. The foreclosure ordinance, we agreed on, didn't disagree on. We changed it to perfect it, and I'm committed to that. And that's my sense. And I would just remind the council that this is a veto that requires 8 votes. So if you think your vote does not matter, you are incorrect. Every vote is going to matter here. We were down 1 council, so we now have 10. So any more than 2 no votes would reject the ordinance and essentially take us completely out of the equation as to where these things are cited and what host agreements are negotiated. Councilor Lozzi.
Thank you, Mr. President, for that clarification. I'll be very brief. I think that whenever this body convenes for determining a special permit or a zoning change, we are picking winners. And I don't think that's terrible. I think that's not just our job, but our obligation to do what's best for this city. I respect what Councilor Capano is doing for his section of the city, his ward. However, overall, I think what I've heard, and I heard Councilor Sear say it, I mean, the Lynn Way is a vast span of business and commercial. Yes, there are neighborhoods to the rear of it, but for the most part, the Lynn Way is probably no other word than palatable, because I don't think any of us would like to see dispensaries open up in the city. But if we have to, the city needs to benefit from that host agreement. We need to have some control over it. And again, I'm going to vote to override this veto, and I hope that all my colleagues will as well. And I'd like to call the vote.
Motion to call the vote. Roll call.
Council Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Council Cahill?
Yes.
Yes. Council Capano?
No.
No. Council Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Council Calucci? Yes. Council Seer?
Yes.
Yes. Council LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes. Council Lozzi?
Yes.
Yes. Council Net, absent. Council Trahan?
Yes.
Yes. Council Walsh?
No.
No. Motion carries.
Council Seer. Give a motion?
Motion to override the mayor's veto?
Motion has already made and seconded. Okay.
Got nothing to say right now.
Okay. Are we moving forward? Oh, no.
Actually, you know what?
Yes.
Motion to rescind,
Motion to reconsider.
reconsider.
Motion has been made to reconsider.
Second.
Seconded. Discussion on the reconsideration.
Reconsider what?
Motion has been made to reconsider the vote. A no vote would deny reconsideration. A yes vote would reconsider the vote.
Of which?
Of the override of the motion to reconsider the override of the mayor's veto relative to the medical
Right.
marijuana dispensary. Any discussion? Roll call.
Council Barton?
No.
No. Council Cahill?
No.
No. Council Capano?
Yes.
Yes. Council Chakutis?
No.
No. Council Calucci? No. Council Seer?
No.
No. Council LaPierre?
No.
No. Council Lozzi?
No.
No. Council Net, absent. Council Trahan?
No.
No. Council Walsh?
Yes.
Yes. Motion carries.
Mr. President,
Shall we move on? Councilor LaPierre.
could we request, in order for the legal department to draft a letter to the mayor, Her Honor, sort of spelling out that we, as a council, feel that it would be in the best city's interest to have council representation on such host agreement committee when it is formed, vis-a-vis, representation from this honorable body. And we think it's in the best interest that, she has her ears wide open to us, and that we do this in a collaborative manner, and that we're involved in that communication going forward. If Attorney Lamanna's office, the legal department's office would not mind drafting such, I would put that down as a council order. And I would love to have that seconded by a
And
colleague.
seconded.
Thank you.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Council Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Council Cahill?
Yes.
Yes. Council Capano?
Present.
Present. Council Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozzi?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net, absent Counsel Trahan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion to reconsider, just kidding.
No, okay. No more reconsiderations. All right, folks, we're going to continue on with the topics that all of you here are for.
Public hearing of top-notch contracting Andre Mazzi for permission to change a first-floor commercial use to a residential use with a one-bedroom, one-bathroom residence at 1 Broad Street.
And open the public hearing for those wishing to speak in favor. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of Top Notch? Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Seeing no one wishing to speak in favor, I close the public hearing for those wishing to speak in favor. I open the public hearing for those in opposition. Anyone in opposition? Anyone in opposition? Seeing no one in opposition, I close the public hearing for those wishing to speak in opposition. I close the public hearing. Councilor Calucci.
Good.
Motion made to approve and seconded. Roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Cahill?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Capano?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci? Yes, Counsel Seer?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozzi?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net, absent Counsel Trahan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Sorry, fiance. 10 yes. Petitioner Los Chamos Cuisine Manuel Rendon for permission for an outside seating with 3 tables at an existing restaurant with hours Tuesday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Sunday, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. at 227 Union.
We're going to open the public hearing for those wishing to speak in favor.
I'm in favor.
If you just speak into the microphone, state your name and your business address.
Yep. Manuel Rendon. I'm the owner of Los Chavos Cuisine. We are 227 Union Street, Lynn, just a few blocks from the health center. I am in favor.
Thank you very much. You might want to sit close in case any councilors have any questions. Anyone else wish to speak in favor? Hello, Mrs. Martinez. How are you?
Good evening. The North Shore Latino Business Association is in favor. We are located at 33 Sutton Street, and I'm Francis Martinez, the Executive Director, CEO of the association.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Seeing no one else wishing to speak in favor, I close the public hearing for those wishing to speak in favor. I open the public hearing for those in opposition. Anyone in opposition? Anyone in opposition? Seeing no one in opposition, I close the public hearing for those wishing to speak in opposition. I close the public hearing. What's the wish of the council? Councilor Calucci.
Give him a chance.
Motion is made to give him a chance and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Cahill?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Capano?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozzi?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net, absent Counsel Trahan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes.
And for those who haven't visited Los Chamos, I suggest you do. It is fantastic Venezuelan cuisine. Very nice building, brand new restaurant. Councils have been there, and it's on Union Street, Los Chamos. Check them out. Congratulations on opening up a business in Lynn, and thank you very much. The next public hearing.
Petition of La Ruta Restaurant Francisco Tolentino for permission for a wine and malt license at existing restaurant at 21 Neptune Boulevard with hours of operation 7 days, 8 a.m. to 12 a.m.
I'm going to open the public hearing for those wishing to speak in favor. I'd like to just state your name and your business address or your residential address if you live in Lynn.
My name's Francisco Tolentino Jr. I live on 498 Essex Street.
Thank you.
And I'd just like to say our family's restaurant is sorry, we're family-oriented business owners here. And there's a demand in the city for a place where families can come to. We host parties for families, sometimes for children, and it's always nice to just have a home away from home. Parents can kick back and relax. I think a beer and wine license would help out with that.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor?
My name is Marcelius Tolentino, and I'm also Francisco's daughter. I would just like to say that, growing up in businesses, it's really been good for the family, and we've always been there to support the families that live around there. And with the demand, it would really be important for you guys' consideration. That's all.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? If there's people here who are here in favor but don't wish to testify in favor, they can raise their hands. Would anyone like to raise their hands in support of the petition? 1, 2, 3, 4. May the record reflect 4 raised their hands. And then Ms. Martinez.
North Shore Latino Business Association is also would like to ask the councilor to consider this petition. They're a very nice restaurant. The service is very good, and there is a big competition of many businesses that are providing wine and mart, and they definitely wants to take a chance to be able to provide this kind of service. North Shore Latino Business Association, 33 Sutton Street in Lynn, and I'm Frances Martinez.
Thank you, Francis. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Seeing no one else wishing to speak in favor, I close the public hearing for those wishing to speak in favor. I open the public hearing for those in opposition. Anyone in opposition? Opposition. Seeing no one in opposition, I close the public hearing for those wishing to speak in opposition. I close the public hearing. Councilor Capano.
Yes, the family runs a nice business there on Neptune Boulevard. I live down the street. I've spoken to them and Francis, and I'd love to give them permission for a wine and malt license. I'd like to make that motion to grant. I don't, think that beer and wine would be a problem anyways in a ward that has a marijuana clinic right down the street. So I'm making a motion to approve.
Duly noted. Motion made to approve and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call.
Council Barton.
Yes.
Yes. Council Cahill.
Yes.
Yes. Council Capano.
Yes.
Yes. Council Chakutis.
Yes.
Yes. Council Calucci.
Yes.
Yes. Council Seer.
It's a pleasure to support my fellow councilor's motion. Of course, yes.
Yes.
Thank
Council
you.
LaPierre.
Yes.
Yes. Council Lozzi.
Yes.
Yes. Council Net. Absent Council Trahan.
Yes.
Yes. Council Walsh.
Yes.
Yes.
Next petition.
We have several petitions from Mobility LLC for permission to attach equipment to utility poles. There's 8 of them if you want to do them together, or I can read the addresses.
There are various wards impacted. I suggest you take a moment to look through to see if there's any in your ward that you wish to take out of order, because if there is, we will take that out of order. If not, we'll just take it all at once. Take a moment, take a moment. Any counselors have any objection to taking these all at once?
No, sir.
No objection. So, Madam Clerk, please read the petitions, every single one of them.
Petition of Mobility LLC, Scott Schneider, for permission to attach equipment to a new utility pole in the right-of-way of the intersection of Baker Street and Brimblecombe Street on Baker Street, location shown on plan attached. Petition of Mobility for permission to attach equipment to a new utility pole in the right-of-way southwest of the intersection of Goodrich Street and Memorial Park Avenue. Petition of Mobility for permission to attach equipment to a new utility pole in the right-of-way east of the intersection of Hamilton Ave and Lawton Avenue. Petition of Mobility to attach equipment to a new utility pole in the right-of-way south of the intersection of Layton Street and Washington Street. Petition of Mobility for permission to attach equipment to a new utility pole in the right-of-way southeast of the intersection of Lawton Ave and Beaudry Terrace. Petition of Mobility for permission to attach equipment to a new utility pole in the right-of-way southwest of the intersection of South Common Street and Market Square. Petition of Mobility for permission to attach equipment on a new utility pole in the right-of-way northwest of the intersection of Waverly Street and Boston Street. And finally, permission to attach equipment to a new utility pole in the right-of-way north of the intersection of Park Street and Bennett Circle.
And over the public hearing for those wishing to speak in favor. Counselor?
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the City Council. My name is Brian Grossman. I'm an attorney with Anderson & Krieger. We represent Mobility. With me is Rosanna Ferrante, who is a senior permitting manager for Mobility as well here in New England. Mr. President, members of the Council, first a little bit of an apology. We've had with this client some new team members, including Rosanna, who's experienced in Massachusetts, but new to the team. As part of that, as Mobility is a licensed competitive local exchange carrier, so they are a utility, they're licensed in Massachusetts, as well as the other 49 states, and is building out its utility network. One of the things that ordinarily that would have been done is more of a individual outreach program conducted by Mobility, with community stakeholders, with city officials, with the ward councilors here tonight who are affected, where proposals are in your district. And we acknowledge and apologize for the fact that some of that has not happened as we would ordinarily expect, and certainly we'll expect going forward as new proposals may be brought forward in the city. But by way of brief introduction, as I mentioned, Mobility is a competitive local exchange carrier. It is a utility, has access to the right-of-way. It is similar to, in some ways, alternative access providers like a light tower that does have some petitions on your agenda tonight as well, and other alternative access providers in similar circumstances. Slightly different from some providers that are providing really data backhaul services through fiber or other methods, is Mobility is doing that wirelessly rather than doing it by running fiber. There's some advantages to that. Certainly, long fiber runs require either new poles or at times digging up large parts of streets and sidewalks. Doing it in a hybrid system like this allows for targeted solutions, allows for individualized attention, and much less damage to the infrastructure in terms of digging up streets and things of that nature. But overall, the system provides backhaul services or data transport services just like fiber or other types of data systems. And so that's what Mobility is building out nationwide. It's what it's started to do here in Massachusetts and New England, and what it's bringing forward in Lynn. As part of that, we do have several proposals that involve the installation of new utility poles. Those utility poles do have antennas associated with them. They do have other boxes and infrastructure associated with them. They do pull power from the street as well. And we've shown that on each individual plan set. The utility poles, as proposed, each one is 72 feet tall with an antenna attached to the top. That antenna extends to about 75'8". One of the balancing acts that takes place is, of course, number of additional utility poles versus additional height. And so one of the things we acknowledge is that there may be some questions really about again who Mobility is, and we're happy to answer them and need. But one of the balancing acts we've had is how to best deliver the system that allows the backhaul to be provided, as well as balancing the needs in terms of overall number of new poles, which always are certainly generally disfavored in terms of addition. In terms of who uses Mobility services, it is anyone. So there are a number of applications for it. There are certainly generally wireless providers can use the backhaul services, but if you've heard of the term Internet of Things, which is very, very popular and very, very common now, it's all of those interconnected devices. So any of those devices, even things like the connected refrigerator that can shoot you a picture of the inside of your fridge and tell you don't have enough milk and you need to go buy some, autonomous cars, other automated types of systems where new technologies are being developed every day to take advantage of that, to allow effectively dumb devices to now communicate back to a network and communicate back to the end user. It allows for the efficient delivery of additional Wi-Fi and broadband to underserved areas, and increases the availability of those types of services throughout the city and to underserved areas as well.
Thank you, sir. I would stay close because there may be some questions for you.
I will.
But I'm going to open the public hearing again for anyone else wishing to speak in favor. Oh, Jeffrey, please.
No, about that, this is kind of in addition to what he said about the Wi-Fi and the internet, and someone else brought up and all that, and these how they integrate into this. See, we're all here in person, and no matter how many buttons or computers are here, we're still able to talk to each other, whether it's a Wi-Fi or another invention, right? We're here in person. And what was it, 1906, the telephone got invented. People had to meet in person and discuss things. And then they didn't say, well, someone pushed a button downstairs, somebody ran in the room that wasn't supposed to in the computer room. So I fully support it, and we continue to work on what I just said.
Thank you, Jeff.
Be replaced by a push button or a computer or an invention to to speak straight, good old God's English like we've been doing and make good decisions.
Thank you.
He was just talking about.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Seeing no one else wishing to speak in favor, I close the public hearing for those wishing to speak in favor. I open the public hearing for those in opposition. Anyone in opposition? Anyone in opposition? I close the public hearing for those wishing to speak in opposition. I close the public hearing. What's the wish of the council? Councilor Trahant.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just had a question. During your speech, I think you said that pole was going to be, what, 75 feet from the
Yes.
ground up?
Yes.
Now, what's an average telephone pole, roughly, you know, like 30 feet? Or?
Anywhere between 30 and 45 is my understanding.
So these poles are going to be about 30 feet higher than a telephone pole. Now, have you contacted, like, the people's that are the poles are going to be in front of their homes? Have you, like all these, the corners of these streets, the addresses, have you checked with those people that live there? You know, like, done any legwork?
I don't think individual meetings have taken place. They certainly would, you know, the abutters, as required under the statute, the right-of-way statute, would have received notice of the hearing.
Yeah, I just have my concern is it's a 75-foot pole in front of someone's house. I just think that maybe those neighbors should be, I don't know how everybody feels about voting for this or not, but I think the people where these poles are going in front of their homes, those people should get a letter and an opportunity to
They did.
maybe come to a...
Madam
Oh,
Clerk
did
may
the-
have some information.
Now, did we get any responses back? Did we get any responses
No.
back? And
We sent, when we get a
Favor?
petition, we send out a list, we get a list of abutters from the assessor's office with the certain square footage, depending on the type of petition, and they do send it out to all the neighbors around that area. And they're invited, they get a copy of the ad to
Okay, so
invite
they would
them
have
to
been
come.
here tonight, you think?
Yep.
I know, Diane, I'm going to pass my, if I can, to Councilor.
Councilor Chakoudas. Thank you.
I've
She
had
had
a few
someone speak.
people call me disregarding with the new telephone pole. Is it going to be a new pole? Is it going to be attached to an old pole? How is it going to work is what they're wondering.
It's a new pole. It would be a wood pole, so it'll look very similar to, it's a Class 3 or Class 4 wooden utility pole. It'll look very similar in terms of look to the existing general utility poles you'd be familiar with. It's just slightly taller.
So it's just going to be another pole that you're going to be putting on the street now, on the side of the road?
Correct.
And it's going to be 75 feet tall?
Correct.
That's awful tall. I don't know.
I can hear you now.
Yes.
Councilor Chakoudas.
I was wondering, can we table this just to get some more information? Let some of the residents know what's going on to make sure they show up for the next meeting, because I don't think a motion to table it, just because I don't think they realize what was going on.
Motion made to
I'm not-
table
yeah,
and
I'm
second.
not sure that people understand that it's going to be 75 feet in the air sticking in
President,
front of their house.
My experience has been this. They don't come to the meetings, but once the 75-foot pole's in front of their house, then they make calls to us.
The ward councilors.
And that's too late.
So I think maybe we should table it, and 75 feet is pretty big.
But also, if we're gonna table it, I haven't seen a picture of this. Or any schematics at all on it, and who oversees it from the city side of it. So just, I'd like to see all of those things, whether it's the ISD, DPW.
The plan without packets. Motion has been made to
I said-
table.
If I had one question to the clerk, now, do we send letters out from each counselor for on the ward, or is it just from the city, a
No,
general
it's
letter?
from the city, and then we get the abutters list. It doesn't matter what ward it's from, wherever it
Okay,
is,
you
that's
just
where
sent
we
it.
send it out.
Okay.
They're all individual, it's not just for one.
Maybe if you could just send all the councilors something.
Okay. I didn't realize you didn't have that in your packets. I have.
Councilor Barton.
The motion to table, what's all the discussion?
Correct. Motion made and seconded. No discussion on a motion to table. Roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Cahill?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Capano?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Chakoudas?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Seer?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Lozzi?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Net?
Distributed to everybody.
Absent, sorry. Counsel Trahan?
Yes.
Yes. Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes. 10 yes.
Council, I suggest you get in touch with Terry Ward in our office, and she can provide you with contact information for each ward councilor.
Terry Ward.
Terry Ward.
We will. Thank you.
I would also like to note that Council Harnett is still away on a pre-planned trip to Cambodia, but he sends his love via Wi-Fi. Next, hearing.
Okay, the next is to set down public hearing.
We're going to set down some public hearings. There's no objection. We'll do it all at once.
Yes, sir.
Petition of Central Square Artist tent/food trucks on premises, Francisco Meneses, for permission to allow food trucks to park on premises at 3-11 Mount Vernon Street. Petition of Primo Pizza and Roast Beef, Raphael Francis, for permission for a sign permit at 200 Franklin Street. Petition National Grid, Chris Radzik, for permission to install approximately 85 feet plus or minus of 2 to 5 inch PVC conduit encased in concrete from Marion Street to an existing manhole on Federal Street. Petition of Comcast Timothy Broderick for permission to place 1 4-inch PVC conduit from existing sidewalk vault on Willow Street 50 feet plus or minus in a southwesterly direction to the property at 23 Central Ave. Petition of Light Tower Ryan McDonald for permission to construct a fiber optic service lateral from National Grid manhole 621 to 29 Market Street to provide service to the Lynn Community Health Services. Petition of Light Tower Ryan McDonald for permission to construct a fiber optic service lateral from National Grid manhole 4-21 to utility pole number 6 on Baldwin Street to provide continuity from manhole 421 to utility pole on Baldwin Street for internet service for Lynn Community Health Service. Petition of Light Tower Ryan McDonald for permission to construct fiber optic service lateral from National Grid manhole number 1 to 269 Union Street to provide internet service to the Lynn Community Health Services. Petition of Light Tower Ryan McDonald for permission to construct a fiber optic service lateral from National Grid manhole number 2 on Central Ave, westerly approximately 132 feet to 20 Central Ave to provide internet service to Lynn Community Health Services.
What's the wish of the council to put
Set
down
down,
for a
set
public
down.
hearing? Motion made, set down, seconded. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it.
Unfinished business, we have to adopt permanently the ordinance requiring licenses for mobile food trucks, vehicles, AKA food trucks in the city of Lynn.
What's the wish of the council?
Do it.
Motion made to do it and seconded. All, roll call.
All right. Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Cahill?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Capano?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozzi?
No.
No, Counsel Net, absent, Counsel Trahant?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, 9 yes.
Committee reports.
We actually, Counsel Chakutis has.
Oh, I'm
a-
sorry. Councilor Chakutis has some unfinished business. Councilor Chakutis.
I would like to take off the table,
I can read that
Yeah,
petition
please.
for you.
be a lot easier.
Petition of Dream Nails Lounge LLC for permission for a pouring license for malt and wine beverages at a nail salon at 592 Essex Street.
I'll second that motion.
Motion to take off the table has been made and seconded. Roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Cahill? Yes, Counsel Capano?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozzi?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net, absent, Counsel Trahant?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes. Councilor Chakutis.
Motion to, what am I doing? I don't even know. I wasn't paying- Motion to approve.
Motion has been
Second.
made to approve and seconded. Is there any discussion? Is there discussion? Councilor Lozzi?
Yeah, I just want a little clarification regarding this now. This is a beer and wine?
We're taking it off the table, that we're not going to...
No, I think
This is
we've
the motion
taken it
to
off the
approve or
table.
deny.
Now you're asking
Favor of
to
it?
approve
Just
it.
so we know, the motion has been made to take off the table. It was seconded. It was approved. I understand there's a motion to now approve the request for a license.
You want to approve it or deny it?
You want to deny
I
it?
deny.
Okay, then you need to change the
So,
motion.
Councilor, I'll take that in a form of a motion to rescind. So now we are just
I'll
back to
second that
square
rescind.
one. Councilor Chakutis, what's the wish of the councilor? Motion has been made to deny.
I second, yeah, deny,
Motion
and I'll
is
second
made
that.
To deny and seconded. Any discussion?
That's what I thought.
Roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Cahill?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Capano?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozzi?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net, absent, Counsel Trahant?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes.
Committee reports.
Personnel Committee?
Councilor LaPierre.
Thank you, Mr. President. The subcommittee met earlier this evening and concluded our process of the hiring of a deputy election commissioner. I would like to go on record before we announce the finalists for the position and really encourage from the committee, the recommended. But before I do that, I wanted to make a little bit of a talk around the whole notion of funding for this position. As the council is fully aware, we received letters from Assessor Karen and talking about the funding of this particular position. We know that the September 8th primary election is looming. We know the November 8th, perhaps a historic record-breaking turnout election will be also coming up just 3 months later. And it was my recollection that this body, just a year ago, with basically a stroke of the pen by the corner office and those present here, eliminated the preliminary election in the city of Lynn. And we were all okay with that and in favor of that, because the idea around eliminating that preliminary election was that the lack of candidates that would be on the September 1 ballot, if memory serves me right. And that was a unanimous vote. But also that loomed large, other than the fact that there was a dearth of candidates, was the fact that we were going to save, in sums up to $300,000, to run and operate that said election. So that was a savings, a net savings of $300,000 last fiscal year that could have carried over into this fiscal year's budget, because it's my understanding that under the clerk's current budget, there is monies appropriated and allocated for this position. This position will be dealing with issues of early voting that was just passed in the state legislature last month. This position will be overseeing the state's online registration procedure and in compliance with making voters easier to be accessible in voting. It will oversee the daunting task of holding all of these special elections that we have most recently been affected with. Gone are the days, folks, where we have a preliminary election and a final election. There have been multiple special elections throughout the course of the past 14 years, and our city clerk has done an admirable job of doing both jobs very effectively and efficiently. And we feel that in the subcommittee level, personnel subcommittee level, that is quite high time, that we separate the duties of the traditional clerk's duty with this position that will be concentrating solely on voter operations, managing, skillfully organizing, and following through on the procedures of running elections within the city of Lynn. And with that, we would like to see this position, and we reorganized not just this position, Mr. President, as you well know. We have taken a very comprehensive look with your ad hoc appointment of relocating polling places to better fit the clients and the residents and voters of the city of Lynn. We've done due diligence by way of making it easier and more accessible for that deputy election commissioner to encourage people to run for office in our great city. We've even lowered the threshold in some ways for some offices to meet a minimum requirement of signatures needed for nomination, to hopefully expand the pool of folks who want to run for office in this great city, like I had the opportunity to do last year. So with all of those things being said, I encourage and implore the mayor, because there have been public statements made thus far and have been reported in the local paper and other places, that there is an inability or a refusal to fund this position. With all due respect to Her Honor, this position needs to be funded. This is a civil and civic right to vote. People gave up a heck of a lot, including last year's primary, and more so, with a stroke of a pen to get rid of an election. Now I think it's high time to bring a person in to organize and manage elections in the city of Lynn going forward. So we would respectfully, by a majority vote, recommend to this august body 3 individuals who you will choose by the names of Miss Irma Ches of Lynn, Miss Michelle Small of Lynn, and Miss Michelle Dismaris of Lynn. Those are the three names put before this honorable body. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor LaPierre. I'll take that in the form of a motion to move forward with appointment.
Second.
Seconded. Any discussion? Councils be asked to make their individual votes. And I would just like to say for public disclosure, I am the only candidate or elected official here on the ballot this year, but I wanted to make that public disclosure. I will be voting today, as I don't see that to be a conflict, but I want to disclose that I am the only one on the ballot of this body. So, that being said, any further discussion? When we do a roll call, you're going to say the name of the candidate you choose.
Council Barton?
Michelle Desmarais.
Michelle Desmarais. Council Cahill?
Michelle Desmarais.
Michelle Desmarais. Council Capano?
Michelle Desmarais.
Michelle Desmarais. Council Chakutis?
Michelle Desmarais.
Michelle Desmarais. Council Calucci?
Michelle Desmarais.
Michelle Desmarais. Council Seer?
Michelle Desmarais.
Michelle Desmarais. Council LaPierre?
Michelle Desmarais.
Michelle Desmarais. Council Lozzi?
Michelle Desmarais.
Michelle Desmarais. Council Net absent. Council Trahan?
Michelle Desmarais.
Michelle Desmarais. Council Walsh?
Michelle Desmarais.
Michelle Desmarais. That's 10.
Unanimous of Michelle Desmarais. Congratulations, Michelle Desmarais, who's been waiting patiently.
Next is Public Property Committee, and we have one order that they've approved and requested an emergency order that the City of Lynn declare 5 lathes owned by the Lynn School Department to be deemed surplus public property, and that said lathes should be disposed of pursuant to the provisions of Mass General Laws, Chapter 30B. And that was...
Councilor Seer.
Unanimous vote by the committee, motion to approve.
Motion made to approve and second. I have one question. What's a lathe?
It's a
I
metal
want
cutting
one, too.
machine.
What is it?
It's for turning pots.
Turning wood.
Oh, okay.
No, it's
Steel,
metal
everything.
lathe, I think.
Metal.
Metal.
Okay, it turns things. Thank you very much.
Wood
Motion
lathes.
made to approve. I think this requires a roll call.
Council Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Council Cahill? Yes. Council Capano?
Yes.
Yes. Council Chakutis?
that?
Yes. Council Calucci? Yes. Councilor Seer?
Yes.
Yes. Council LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes. Council Lozzi?
Yes.
Yes. Council Net absent. Council Trahan?
Yes.
Yes. Council Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, and they've requested an emergency on that.
I'll second the emergency.
Motion made on the emergency and seconded. Roll call.
Council Barton?
Yes.
Yes. Council Cahill?
Yes.
Yes. Council Capano?
Yes.
Yes. Council Chakutis?
Yes.
Yes. Council Calucci?
Yes.
Yes. Council Seer?
Yes.
Yes. Council LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes. Council Lozzi?
Yes.
Yes. Council Net? Absent. Council Trahan?
Yes.
Yes. Council Walsh?
Yes.
Yes. 10 yes. The next committee is Public Safety and Public Health. The following constables were approved: Charles Demori, Teresha Brinig, John Massa, Resolvo Bisegna, Kenneth Brady, Alexander Tavares, and Christopher DePietro.
Councilor Barton.
Unanimous vote of committee, motion to approve.
Second.
Made and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Do we need a roll call on this?
No, we just...
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Madam Clerk.
Ways and Means Committee.
I'm going to take these individually.
Ordered that the...
Do we have to take them individually?
No, I'll just bring up the ones that came.
Okay, we'll classify them.
Okay. Ordered that the city controller take the following action. Transfer the sum of, that was 3 laid over, sorry. Transfer the sum of $1,200.00 from DPW expense to unpaid bills of prior year. Transfer the sum of $498.96 from DPW expense to unpaid bills of prior year. Transfer the sum of $6,258.60 from IT expense to unpaid bills of prior year. Certify as an available fund the amount of $60,033.00 as allotted to the City of Lynn Police Department by the Executive Office of Public Safety and Security for the fiscal year 17 State 911 Department Training Grant. Certify as an available fund the amount of $596,887.00 as allotted to the City of Lynn Police Department by the Executive Office of Public Safety and Security for the fiscal year 17 State 911 Support and Incentive Grant. Certify as an available fund the amount of $14,293.00 as allotted to the City of Lynn School Department by the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education for the 184 Title III ELL Summer Grant. Transfer the sum of $1,000.00 from the reserve account to the library payroll sick buyback account. And order that the city controller be and is hereby authorized to appropriate from the overlay surplus account the sum of $891,136 to fund Police Department retro pay per labor negotiations. Transfer the sum of $312.15 from Fire Department expense to unpaid bills of prior year. Transfer the sum of pass on that one. Order that the city clerk be directed to cause notice to be advertised that meetings will be held of the qualified voters of the city of Lynn at the several polling low places for the state primary election on Thursday, the 8th day of September 2016. That's it. The rest of them were tabled in committee.
Councilor Seer.
Unanimous vote by committee. Motion to approve.
Motion made, approved,
With
second.
emergencies.
With an motion made to approve, we'll do the emergency right after?
Yes.
Okay, roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Cahill? Yes, Counsel Capano? Yes, Counsel Chakutis? Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozzi? Yes, Counsel Net, absent Counsel Trahan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, 10 yes.
On the emergency, motion made for the emergency?
made for
Seconded.
emergency.
Roll call.
Counsel Barton?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Cahill?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Capano?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Chakutis? Yes, Counsel Calucci?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Seer?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel LaPierre?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Lozzi?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Net, absent Counsel Trahan?
Yes.
Yes, Counsel Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, 10 yes. And new business.
We had new business already? Going by so quickly. Any new business? Councilor Capano.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to set down a joint public hearing for the Planning Board and Lynn City Council on August 30th, August 30th at 6 p.m. in the chambers.
You're right.
To approve the application of Chapter 121A and 6A for the project, the Gateway Residence on Washington. Proposal is a development, five-story development consisting of 71 units. It's a joint project between the AFL-CIO, Lynn Community, the Lynn Coalition, and the Lynn Housing Authority, and this is, I think, the final step, if I am correct, that we need to do to make this happen. So it's a new development in the city that will be really good.
Motion to set down and seconded. Just briefly, procedurally, we're under a time constraint. This is why this is coming up tonight for an August 30th meeting. We had to advertise for 2 weeks. We need 6 counselors on that day, so if you happen to be on a pre-arranged vacation, we understand. This was a matter of kind of an emergency as a result of yesterday. So again, if 6 members can make it, that would be wonderful. Motion made and seconded to set down for public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. Licensing Committee.
Unanimous vote of committee.
Second.
Motion to approve.
Motion made to approve and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, oh. The ayes have it. Do we have anything else this warm August day? Councilor Seer.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thanks.
It's kind of hard for me to say this. I just want to say that with all the discussions and all the debate that we've had this past summer about marijuana, Peter has been unbelievable. And my respect for him has only grown. Obviously we don't agree on a lot of things, but we've both always been able to be upfront with each other and be able to express our true feelings and be able to always walk away and, start anew the next day. And I hope that that continues.
Think about it.
Thank you. I just want to say that, I admire the way you've been fighting your fight, so. It's not every day we get to say that about our fellow councilors.
Hear, hear. Hear, hear.
Thanks, Peter.
Thank you, Councilor. Anyone else have any new business or old business? Seeing none, motion, Councilor Calucci?
Adjourn.
To adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. We are adjourned.
We're adjourned, Jeffrey.